If you do have only social media, but you have a fan base, then your first offer should probably be middle of funnel offers. You should probably be making them an offer of something of value. Sign up for my email list right now and you will get X immediately.
You are now listening to the Creative Juice podcast brought to you by IndiePRO.io.
What's up, Indies? Welcome back to the Creative Juice podcast. I'm your host, Jack McCarthy. This is episode 331. With me, as always, is Circa. And Circa, I have a question for you to start this episode. Have you ever wondered when you were getting ready to release new music or promote a tour or put out new merch or anything related to your music career, have you ever wondered, where am I going to reach my fans? Like, what should I be promoting this on?
Me personally?
Sure, you personally. Think back to 16-year-old Circa.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 16-year-old Cirque was like, what? How am I going to do anything?
What's a music?
Yeah.
I think this is a common question that a lot of artists, especially those who are earlier in their journey or just getting started, getting their hands dirty with marketing their music. I think it's a challenge that a lot of them face, wondering, what channels am I actually going to use to promote the thing that I'm trying to promote? And this goes with music, releasing singles. This goes with releasing your videos. This goes with touring. This goes with record releases. This goes with new merch or offers, product launches, Patreon memberships, you name it. It kind of fits into anything that you might want to promote to your fans in your music career. At some point in time, you might have or may wonder, how the heck am I going to reach my fans, and where is the best way to reach them? Where are the best places to reach them? And that's what we're going to talk about here today.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this. I think we've got a good model for how we can quickly help you guys at any point in the future quickly figure out which channels.
For sure. I think the first thing that you need to think about if you're asking this question of what marketing channels should I use to promote my thing, the first question that we probably need to answer before we even get into the questions you should be asking yourself is, what is a marketing channel? We should probably talk about that. Just as like a baseline, a marketing channel is a medium for reaching your fans. So that might be your social media profiles. Maybe that's Instagram, maybe that's TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, any of your social media platforms. It might be your email list. It might be your text list.
Yeah. A marketing channel is really just a venue in which to communicate a message, right? So I could communicate a message in lots of different ways. I can record this podcast and then release the podcast. I can walk into a crowded gymnasium and shout my message, right? I could buy space in the local coupon book that gets mailed to everybody, and that's a marketing channel. So yeah, it's just the venue in which the message is communicated, and it also dictates what kind of message what your message can look like or be like.
Yeah, exactly. A social media post on your Instagram, with that being your channel, your marketing material, your asset is going to look different than if you were sending out a text to your fans, right? Those are going to look like different things. So what we're going to talk about here today is how to determine which channels you should use and how you can really apply some smart marketing thinking so that you can go through the process of figuring out this for yourself, no matter what it is that you're working on releasing. And that's probably a good jumping off point. Is the first question I would recommend that you ask yourself is, what is it that I'm trying to promote? What's your offer? Like I said at the beginning, it might be that you're releasing new music. It might be that you're announcing a tour. It might be a product. But you need to know and get very clear on what is it that you're trying to offer? Because the next question that you're going to ask yourself is, who would want it? Who in your fan base would be into it? And this is where we can start to get into people that are at the very top of your funnel when it comes to music marketing, or people who are a little bit more in the middle, a little warmer, or people who are at the very bottom and, maybe they're customers or they're really big fans of yours. So you need to know what it is you're offering and who in your fan base might want it.
Yeah. And really, we could do this really easily. We could just say, it can be one of two things. Is it supposed to help create new fans, Or is this supposed to convince your existing fans to perform some action?
Yeah, that's good. That's a simple 2-step diagnostic. I love that.
You could really split it into that. Another way to split it is by where the offer goes. In sort of the foundational training in our IndiePRO membership, the buddy system, we really talk about marketing frameworks, like the overall framework that you can, it's like scaffolding where you can hang any marketing campaign or idea within this larger structure. So that's what the buddy system is. It's just a big framework for understanding marketing for yourself as an artist. And it all is centered around the relationship with the fan and the journey the fan goes through in a deeper and deeper relationship with you as an artist. So the fan themselves go through different stages of a relationship. And in that, we talk about how offers aren't really appropriate at all stages. So if you're offering some kind of merch bundle with your latest release, it's unlikely that someone who's never heard of you before is going to take that. If you waste a lot of your effort trying to get people who have never heard of you to buy this larger cost item or set of items, you're kind of spinning your wheels. And so we talk about like the appropriateness of different offers for different stages of the relationship. In marketing, this happens as well, but it's more generalized. Instead of a specific stage of the relationship, we just think of the funnel. It's people who've never heard of you or aren't really aware, and we call that top of funnel. There's people who have interacted with you in the past. They are aware of who you are. They know a bit about what you offer. They might have even done something with you, like consume some of your content. We'll call that middle of funnel. And then we have the bottom of the funnel, where everyone here has already gotten full information about who you are and what you do, and they just need a reason to take whatever next step. And offers can go top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. So a top of funnel offer might be something like, listen to my latest song, watch this piece of content, go check out this thing on my website. These are all like very light asks. They don't require a whole lot, so they're top of funnel. In the middle of funnel, we might have something a little bit more serious, like sign up for my text list, sign up for my email list, join my free membership, jump in my Discord. These are all middle of funnel. They bring someone a lot closer, but they do rely rather on people having already known you, because someone's unlikely to have just found out about you and then join your email list, or just found out about you and then jump in your Discord. It happens, but it's not the majority case. Bottom of funnel is like paid offers, like buy something. And there are some things that people can buy in the middle or even the top of funnel. And it does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't, but most often, especially as you get into higher price points, that's all bottom of funnel offers. And if you know where your offer that you want to make fits, if you can turn what you're trying to do into an offer that you're making to an audience, you can fit it into top of funnel tofu, middle of funnel mofu, or bottom of funnel bofu. And if you know that, you know almost immediately all the marketing channels that are going to be appropriate.
Totally. And I'm glad that you mentioned that there are some offers that can sort of jump around or be appropriate for kind of all stages, depending on how you're looking at your fans, because releasing new music, are your most ravenous customers going to want to hear your new song? Yeah, 100%. But is that also appropriate to help you generate new fans? Yeah, 100%. Is someone who loves you and has come to every tour a prime candidate for buying tickets to your next one? Yeah, totally. Is someone new who really likes you and just discovered you recently, who's kind of in the middle, maybe a prime candidate for also coming to one of your upcoming shows? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
So we've talked about the offer, and we've talked about the who and where they fall in your funnel. So now you're thinking about where an offer falls in your marketing framework, your buddy system. You can think about the people that you have at various stages of relationship with you, from people who are just discovering you to people who are, rabid, shout from the rooftop about you fans and customers. And you can think about where the offer relates to both of those things. And now you have to ask yourself, what channels do I have available currently with all of those people and at all of those stages? So, for example, at the top of the funnel, your channels might be social media, organic social media. Your channels might be paid social advertising. So running ads on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it might be. Your middle of funnel, these might be people that you have contact with maybe they're not customers yet, but you've got contact with them. You can reach out to them with email marketing campaigns or text marketing campaigns. So these are channels where you can now reach out to people and send them a message that's a bit more personalized. It's not mass messaging anymore. And that's important to consider when it comes to the offer, because then you can personalize it a bit more to that person and their context with you. And then that starts to bleed into the bottom of funnel sort of stage, or, the deeper fans who are the shout from the rooftop types, where you can personalize it even further. You likely have their contact information. Hell, you might even have their phone number where you could call them up and treat phone calls as a marketing channel if you really wanted to get super personal about it. You can do that kind of thing. And that's really where messaging starts to come into play. As these channels start to bleed together based on how the relationship that you have with your fans is, then you can get a little bit more personalized in how you talk to those people. And that can be really important because it starts to differentiate the channels just a little bit. You would talk to someone who's been a Patreon subscriber for 3 years a little bit differently than someone who just came to a show for the first time or just bought their first piece of merch.
Yeah. It's also important, I think, to point out the case that you may only have one marketing channel and you may only have one kind of offer. Depending on where you are in your career, it's quite possible, if you're listening to this, like that you only have social media and that you only have top of funnel. You haven't yet done a whole lot of work to build a fan base, or you have, but you just never built out any other marketing channels and everything is on Instagram or TikTok. That's actually very common in the music industry, not so common in other industries. But it might be the case that you only have social media, in which case the only offer that you probably should be making, I mean, there's cases where this isn't necessarily the first thing you would do, but the only offer you should be making, if you do have a fan base and you've built, a sizable one, but you only have social media as a marketing channel, your first offer should be a middle of funnel opt-in offer that gets them off social media onto either email lists or text lists, preferably email list or email and text, but not just text, because there's all sorts of restrictions around text marketing and it's just not really a very expressive channel. You can't do a whole lot with the message. But yeah, just to say that, like, if your only channel is social media, you shouldn't then just start making a bunch of sales offers on social media or limiting yourself to just like watch this video or listen to this song. You should try to start build out another marketing channel. It might be the case that you only have social media and then customer lists, in which case you kind of have an email list. Like, people have come and bought things from your store off of social media, and now you have their email. And so you do have this other marketing channel, but you don't have any middle of funnel. You don't have any people who haven't yet necessarily bought a whole lot, but are deeper than social media. And the reason that's necessary is because it's very difficult to do a social media post, right? Or even a campaign of posts where you're doing it across multiple days, you're doing a whole week of posts. It still may be the case. One, you don't know all the people in your social media audience who haven't bought anything versus have. So you kind of got to talk to everyone like they're the same. Two, it's very likely that tons of people who are right for an offer to make a purchase aren't going to see your message. There's a much lower guarantee of whether they're going to see your message if your only channel is social media. So hopefully we've covered that edge case, right? If you do have only social media, but you have a fan base, then your first offer should probably be middle of funnel offers. You should probably be making them an offer of something of value. Sign up for my email list right now and you will get X immediately. Also, you're going to get Y and Z every week or every month, right?
I think this is really important to talk about, actually, and you kind of dove us into a bit of a more advanced topic here. I think that edge case is actually way less of an edge case than we're talking about. I think it's really common. And I think what's important here is when artists have big milestones coming up in their careers, maybe it's an album launch, maybe it's a big tour, they start to wonder months ahead of time, how can I reach as many fans as possible, and what channels can I do it with? And when you're in a position where you've got a big, heavy skew towards just social media, The work to be done ahead of time is in carving out new channels, just like you talked about. So if you can do that ahead of time, then when these milestone moments come up, you have an email list to work with, you have a text list to work with, you have a customer list to work with. And I think that's so important to talk about here. And that's really about like infrastructure building ahead of time so that when you come to an offer that you really want to knock it out of a park with, you have a lot of opportunities for a lot of different kinds of touch points. And that's a whole nother piece of this equation that I think we need to talk about as well is how much time do you have in your marketing campaign, whatever it might be, the offer that you're promoting, how much time do you have? How many touch points does that time allow for? And then how can you diversify your message across channels to make the biggest impact?
Yeah. This is why it's nice to build out marketing channels at every stage of the funnel, to have a way to communicate with people, to have strong data around who is on my email list. First of all, do I have an email list? Second of all, who on my email list has not bought anything? Who on my email list buys everything, but hasn't bought a product recently? These are all good things to know when you're constructing the offer in the first place, and then when selecting marketing channels. But yeah, just say that we've dealt with the case where, and the very common case where you might have already built up a fan base, but it exists on social media and Spotify. Now you can't communicate with any of the people on Spotify. So your best bet is to take the social media marketing channel and use it to build out the middle of the funnel marketing channel, opt-in, text, or email lists. And so there also are people listening to this who only have social media and they don't have a fan base. At which point, like, don't worry about offers that are going to address later parts of the funnel, because you should only be focusing on top of funnel offers right now. Watch this content, listen to this song. There's not really a whole, I could talk about how people who don't really have much of a fan base yet are able to run free plus shipping and handling offers, but it's not going to be useful to you for me to talk about that. And it's a very specific thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's just assume if you don't have a fan base yet, you just have social media that you can communicate with people. Your job is to actually convert people from cold social media to warm with top of funnel offers. Watch content, listen to songs, follow. So we've dealt with those two alternative cases. Now let's talk about if you do have, you've got social media, you've got an email list, maybe you got a text list, you have a customer list, which is different. You have a YouTube channel, maybe where you've built up a subscriber base. Maybe you have a Patreon, maybe you have a Discord, right? These are all different marketing channels where you can put a message. So when you are thinking about your offer, let's first slate it where it belongs. And it can be in multiple stages. You might say, I'm doing a contest, right? Doesn't really involve purchases. It's like a giveaway, but it's to generate awareness for an upcoming release. Shouldn't I just only hit top of funnel? Well, no, you should probably hit middle of funnel too, right? You might even hit the whole stack.
For sure. Yep.
It's less useful information for people who are like already in your world deeply and are bottom of funnel and already like buy products.
The only reason to really involve them in something like a contest would be for goodwill.
Yeah. Now, maybe you've got a new product to offer, and really you don't want that to hit your top of funnel that much. You want it to mostly hit people on your email list who haven't bought anything and people who have already bought stuff, but because the product is new, they haven't bought this. They don't have it. So now we're talking about a middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, more appropriate. What if you have an existing product that's pretty entry level, low cost, but you're putting it on sale? Okay, well, that falls squarely into middle of funnel. You should be converting people from email subscribers to customers with that. And so we're going to use middle of funnel channels, email, text, right? These are the channels. We're not going to worry so much about putting out that message on social media or hitting your email subscribers who are customers with it. So you can consider different segments of your list, of your email list, as like different channels, right? You have your buyers, but then you have your non-buyers.
And this goes beyond just selling products online too. I want to make an important point here that like this squarely falls in the realm of marketing your live shows and your tours as well. Think about the channels that you might use for reaching out to fans who are the most likely to buy tickets in advance. Probably your warmest fans, your existing customers, people that have been to shows beforehand. You probably want to reach them first, earliest, give them the best shot of taking action, and maybe make them an offer that you're not making to other people. Then, as you get closer to either the announcement of your tour or the actual shows itself, then you start to go a little bit higher up in the funnel and you're reaching out to people who maybe have never been to a show before, maybe have never even been a customer before, but this is a good opportunity to convert them. Maybe you're even packaging in special offers. Again, now we're starting to get into talking about offers more than we're talking about channels, but I think the point is important to make.
Well, what is a marketing channel, right? It's a connecting line between an offer and an audience.
Exactly. Yep.
So if you know what the offer is and you know what your different audiences are, you can use the appropriate marketing channel to map to them. And so I think the step-by-step for you is, if you're trying to select which marketing channels to use, we've already talked about when you should only use top of funnel or when you should focus primarily on middle of funnel, convert social media into subscribers, build out another marketing channel. So we can put those away. Now, if you truly have a stack where you have multiple marketing channels all up and down the funnel, the first step is you're going to take your offer and determine what audiences are right for this within my audience. Is it something that should only go to cold audiences who don't know about me? Is it something that's more appropriate for people who already know about me but haven't bought anything? Is it more appropriate for people who have bought lots of stuff? Like, you can start to think through this. Once you know who is my offer right for within my audience, who is it meant for, then you can start selecting the marketing channels for that stage of the funnel that you want to use. And then, just like Jack said, once you know you have the offer, you have the audiences you want it to hit and why, you have the marketing channels you're going to use to get that offer to those audiences. Now you start thinking about sequencing.
Exactly. Yep. And what's cool about sequencing and where your promotional efforts fall in time is you can tweak the offer then as however you need to get people to take action. So this can look like things like, here, take a tour, for example. Maybe you do buy one, get one 50% off tickets, or some kind of bring a friend promotion. You can do that for people at the middle of the funnel. Maybe you're not doing it for people at the bottom of the funnel, and that's just fine. It's a good way to work to convert people. But when you start thinking about sequencing, then you can start thinking about the offer, and you start to see how it's kind of like offers all the way down.
Yeah.
I hope that everything that we've talked about so far gives a pretty clear picture of how, when you look at your offer and you think about your fans, so when you look at the thing that you're trying to market and you think about your fans at varying stages of relationship with you, how they've interacted with you, you can start to parse out in your mind, when is it appropriate to think about single channel marketing opportunities? For example, like releasing new music when you don't really have a fan base, you've kind of got a single channel marketing opportunity with social media, maybe omni-channel if you consider paid social a split off thing, versus more true omni-channel marketing, meaning multiple channels. So that's social media, that's email, that's text, any of the kind of channels that we've talked about, and the varying degrees of which you communicate with fans and how you do it, the things that you say to them, and the way that you present the offer. Hopefully this gives you a picture of how you can kind of parse that out in your mind just based on what you're offering and what you know about your fans. Because like Cirque said at the beginning, as we were starting to talk about this, is it really only comes down to two things.
It really does only come down to like cold or warm and varying degrees of warm in my mind. Is this to get people to become a fan of you, or is it to do some action with your existing fans? So yeah, that's just to say, hopefully this has given you like a framework you can use to know not only like what are my marketing channels and am I at a point in my career where I don't have many and what should I do about that? But two, if you do have multiple marketing channels, how to take an offer-based approach to your whole marketing stack. The way I get people to move up and down the funnel, the way I get people to move stages in their relationship with me is through offers. Offers are like the triggering thing that create movement. How can I construct offers? Figure out what audiences they're for, or have that in mind when I construct them in the first place. Use marketing channels to get that offer to those audiences and hopefully facilitate movement. Track that movement. Know how you successfully gotten people to take a deeper step with you and how it's impacted your marketing channels. Maybe before you had just a social media audience that was a nice fan base, but they're just on social media. And now you have that audience plus this email audience, and it's grown by this much. And you now have this many people in it. That's really like the nuts and bolts of how we deconstruct all this, how we think about it. Is it's offers and audiences, and that's really all there is.
For sure, yeah. If I could boil it down into a formula that you guys could burn into your minds about selecting marketing channels, I guess I would say, like, given the offer and who would be most likely to take you up on it, how and where do you find them and communicate with them at the right frequency? And that gives you your channels. That's your output.
Yeah, 100%.
So I hope you guys dug this. I hope it was helpful. Hope it gives you some things to think about, both on offers that you're running right now and marketing channels that you might have at your disposal right now, and maybe ones that you want to carve out for yourself ahead of the next big things that you're going to be doing in your career, so that you can be thinking not in the moment when the time comes, but 6 months, 12 months ahead of time, so that you can be planning. Because that's really where, you know, building out marketing infrastructure for yourself comes to have the biggest benefit.
Yeah.
So rock and roll. I hope you guys dug this. We'll catch you next time on Creative Juice. Peace, Indies.
Can y'all really feel the East Coast, feel the West Coast?